Testing 1, 2, 3. Who's your daddy?
God damn it.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth! And the truth! No! Set you free!
Jason.
Hey, there he is.
Hey.
There he is. All right.
How you doing?
Very tired, but I'm good. It's been a long day. How about you?
Yeah, not tired, just kind of pleasantly exhausted.
Pleasantly exhausted.
Yeah.
In my house, I call that I just got laid. Is that? I'm pleasantly exhausted right now. That's only maybe once a month, though.
That would mean that, I guess.
Yeah. Anyways. So you know what? I don't know how much time do you have?
Got like an hour.
Okay, cool. Let's do 40.
That's good.
No, I got the time ticking in this thing. So I'm gonna do a little intro here. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Face the Truth. I'm really excited. I say that every time, but this time I am actually really excited because I get to talk to someone really cool. Hey, you guys know this guy from, Hollywood, Schmollywood, Saturday Night Live, his stand-up comedy. But most lately, he's trying to take over my career, and he's come out with this amazing book called I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame. An awesome book that I highly recommend, and that's why we're going to here to talk about today. So everyone, please put your warm mitts together for the one and only, the great Kevin Nealon.
Yay! Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.
The plug right there.
Thank you for joining me, man. No, that I'm really excited about your book, and of course, we've been talking together for the last couple of years. I mean, it was like almost 2 years that you were working on it, I think.
Yeah,
So it seemed like it. It seemed like it's been a while.
And that was just one painting.
Yeah. But I wanted to have you on just because obviously you and I are friends, and we have lots in common with the art and the comedy kind of stuff. But your caricature work has been something that for me has been just a
It's
kind
great.
of exciting. No, it's been exciting. It's been exciting to watch.
Thanks, buddy.
You've worked really hard at it, and I said this. I think someone asked me when you were coming out with the book. I got someone. I think it was the Washington Post or somebody asked me some questions about you, and one of the things I remember saying, and this is totally true, is it's annoying to me how like good you got and are at doing caricature. Because you're so awesome at all this other stuff that we all know you for, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna be amazing at this as well." And the truth is there are so many. I mean, just from you went to the caricature convention and everything. There's so many amazing caricature artists out there, and illustrators, and a lot of people I think don't really quite get caricature, but you get it, and you've made it your own. And I think it's just really exciting to see what you've done with your work, man.
Well, thanks, buddy. I mean, I owe a lot of credit to you because you were holding my hand the whole way I was doing this book and giving me advice and tips and stuff. But, the truth of the matter is, Jason, I've been doing this longer than you have.
That's probably
you. I was doing this before you were born.
That's funny. That is probably true.
Well,
yeah.
It's not like it hasn't been an overnight success.
Well, what I mean by that, though, and I think you do get what I'm saying, is like it's just like, oh, come on, he's awesome at that too. Because the reason I say that is because caricature, I feel caricature is really difficult. And there's a lot of people that say, and you can probably relate to this with comedy. It's like, you know, like you're probably like, oh, you not Jason, you think you can just do comedy now? Like, because you know, from doing comedy is like, it's hard. You can't just do it. You know, it takes a long time and a lot of you know, a lot of struggling and everything. But with caricature, I find that caricature, there's a lot of artists out there that are like, oh, I do caricatures, and you're like, do you? But you really do. That's my point is, it's awesome. And the other thing, I was just flipping through the book again. I've read most of it by now, but there was something I kind of noticed that just from talking to you throughout the years, I noticed there's something even a little bit more magical about some of the caricatures that you have done of people that I know that you were closer to. For example, the Carrie Fisher piece. I was looking at that one. That's one of my favorites of yours. And I don't know if it's the lips in that painting. The glasses are amazing, the green glasses and everything, but the lips, I was like, Kevin really cares about this one. Like, he's really
The rest not so much, but that one I really care
no
about.
But there's a few, like, for example, Gary Shandling, just there's something about how the eyes and the attention to details with the nose, or the warmth that you captured with Norm Macdonald. Like, I'm like, okay, you can tell that Kevin really cares about this person. And so I was just wondering, when is this a conscious thing, do you think, for you personally, or is this something that I'm going to spend more time on this one, or is it just each one is just happens the way it happens?
I think with the people I know, there's more of an intensity to it, because I know them and I'm connecting with them, and I know that sparkle in their eyes, and I know that face. Like Gary Shandling, I knew those blood vessels in his nose. I knew his lips. I knew everything on his face because I talked to him so much, and I look at his face, and over the years, you just kind of know. I could have drawn that without a picture, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my each one of those is like a labor of love to me, because it takes me so long. As you could see in the evolution I put in some of my Instagram stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not like one of these people like you or some of the other people that could just start off and draw the face, and have it right, pretty much right. And then just start your value stuff and, all your strokes. And me, it could take, 6 hours for me just to find the kind of face I want. And, but, I'm getting quicker at it as, the years go by. But I'll never have it like you do, where it's just second nature. You look at it, you could just draw it down there. I still have to, give it a lot of shots, because sometimes I don't know if the chin is big or small, right?
Yeah. I mean, I still sometimes, do you ever do this? This is something that I do. Like, I think the reference is huge. It's really important what references you're basing it off of, because like you can find a picture of Tom Hanks, several different pictures of Tom Hanks, and he's going to look different, everyone. Like what era Tom Hanks, or genre or whatever, what kind of movie he was in at that time. Or just even like, for me, when I think of Tom Hanks, I see him in my mind. Like I see a specific expression, or, just the shapes, the overall shapes. And so when I look for reference, I look for that. I look for that kind of my, first instinct or impression. And I find that really helps. So like today I finished an assignment for a magazine, and one of the people that I had to paint was Major Taylor Greene. And I always see like this certain look in my mind where she's kind of like, like this kind of like weird thing. And I searched and searched and searched until I could find something. I'm like, oh, and then I found it. And so part of me, I don't know, it's not really a superstition, I guess, but part of me sometimes feels like if I can't find that reference that I was thinking, I don't know if it's going to turn out the right way. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense or if that sounds crazy, but
Yeah. I mean, you are into it more than I am. And, that's what you do. You visualize that image you've always had about Tom Hanks, whether it was the big forehead or the nose. And then once you see the image, it just kind of verifies what you were thinking. So it's a lot easier to, start your, and that's the other thing with you. I know you're like a machine. You'll get an offer to do a magazine cover like in a half hour. And you got exaggerate, the next day or whatever, and there's like 10 people in it. You just whip it out. And I know you always say it's just a quick one, but and I know you could do as well, as great as that is. I know you could do a lot better if you had like a week or so. But they're all fantastic, and it's like I'm just stymied at how quick you can do that. And I mean,
well, I think it's just a muscle. It's like with like you, like I watched you do a bunch of interviews when your book came out, and I'm just like, you're on Conan, and I'm part of the reason I'm enjoying it so much is I'm like, this guy is so goddamn funny. Like every little thing that you were, it was the funniest thing in the world. I've actually watched that a couple times now just because I wanted to show other people how funny it is. And I don't even know if you realize how funny it was, because you were just having fun, you were hanging out with your friend. But I think it's the same thing, like with it's a muscle. Like comedy is something for me that I'm working hard at trying to understand and figure out and challenge myself. But it's the same thing. Like I feel like you're just naturally funny. But the caricature thing, I think, is kind of a muscle. Like, have you noticed that especially since you committed to doing this book, you had to get so many done in a certain amount of time. Have you noticed that now your brain, I should ask this more in this way, is your brain more of like a funhouse mirror now? Like, can you go places without going, oh my God, look at that guy? You know what I mean?
You're right. Like, I know we've talked about this before. It's just, your brain is trained to find the characteristics that you would exaggerate in that person.
Yeah.
It's almost like you are, it's part of your drawing education, saying, okay, now this person, okay, I see they have the very narrow face and the little chin, and that's how I would draw them. Right. But, it's like you say, it's a muscle, and I haven't really worked on that muscle very much lately. When I finished that book, I was so burnt out.
Yeah.
Because that's all I did every day on the road, in hotel rooms. And I've taken a break from that. So I haven't really drawn too much in the last couple of months. But I'm itching to get back to it again. It's just that I'm doing so many things, Jason. I do that hiking show, and the fourth season, I'm editing it, and editing is like my drawing. I'm not that facile with it yet. I'm doing Premiere Pro, and it takes me a long time. And then I have to arrange for other hikes. So, the leisure, I mean, I'm not like you where I have a deadline. I have the leisure to sit down and take 3 or 4 weeks to do a painting. You have to do it sometimes overnight. So, for me, it's a lot more luxurious, and I have, it's more of a hobby for me.
Yeah, I understand that. So how have things been going since you had a show recently, a gallery show, and it looked like you had a great turnout. I wanted to ask you about just the process of, I saw you post some photos of you doing things to the large prints. I don't know exactly what that was. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but can you talk a little bit about that and what the show was, how that turned out for you? Because it seemed like an amazing show.
The gallery showing was great. I've never done one of those before. It's like you doing, a big theater, doing stand-up. I've never done a gallery opening with my art on the wall. I felt very vulnerable because we had the paintings enlarged a little bit, a lot actually, and I could see all the mistakes I made. Because you don't see it when there's like 12 by 16. Yeah. These are 40 by 50.
But what do you mean by mistakes though? Do you just mean like sketch marks that you didn't really want people to see, or to me, I think that's kind of cool to see that kind of stuff.
Oh, you do? No, these are
Yeah.
like digital art mistakes where you can see a really hard edge, or a space from moving
Oh.
something around or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So I had to go back and fix all that. And then, but yeah, it was a good turnout. I sold, I think, about 6 paintings.
Nice.
I don't do it myself, but I have this art dealer, I guess you call him. I don't even know what to call him. But this guy took me on, and he takes some of my profits from the paintings, and he finds me the galleries. But this was a great turnout for the opening. We had a lot of celebrities come, and a lot of artists too. I find that a lot of artists come to a gallery opening, and they ask me a lot of questions about my process and what medium I'm working in, and I know right away they're artists.
Yeah.
Are you an artist? Yeah, they go, yeah, I'm an artist. So I had like at least a half a dozen artists come.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it was fun just seeing people I haven't seen in a while. And then I hear this a lot. I didn't know you did this. I didn't know you had talent. I said, yeah, I do have a little talent. Yeah, I do. But thank you. So what you're seeing with me, the painting and the that big studio or warehouse, whatever it is, it's they put the 40 by 50 canvas down. And when you do a digital art thing, whether you sketch it, sometimes they'll sketch it in pencil and then I'll transfer it to, like you probably do, transfer it to the Wacom, and then I'll do the digital stuff. And then this is the third process. You take that canvas, you lay it down, and then you take a spray bottle and you spray water on it, and then you take a clear acrylic and you paint on it over the whole thing. And then, when you get to the hair, you paint the direction that the hair is going, so that when it dries and you have it on the wall, it kind of looks like more like a painting because it has that texture to it. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, I've never done that before. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really, because I remember seeing a digital art painting or a print. It was a print in San Francisco about 30 years ago. And the artist or whoever would take some paint and put a little bit of paint like on the streetcar or on, somebody's hair. And I'm thinking, oh, that's so this is not a real painting. They just kind of are touching up. And I didn't really like that at all. But since then, they've kind of improved that whole process, and when you put those brush strokes on there, I don't care if people know it's a digital painting or if it looks like a regular painting, but that certainly does add some texture to it and some interest, I think.
Well, it also makes it, you've given me like an idea, like maybe I should do that with some prints, because that makes it one of a kind still, even though it's a digital print. No one's going to have a digital print with that exact texture to it and everything else.
Because you're actually adding to it. And I'm also taking acrylic paint and fixing the things that don't work as a large painting. So, I'm fixing that little line or whatever it is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing those pictures. I'm like, what is he doing? And those pictures, I knew it was, I remember you said you were going to do something with texture, but I wasn't quite sure the technique. So that's pretty awesome, man. And then were they, I don't remember, were they stretched on canvas and then framed for the show, or how did they?
Some of them had a box frame.
Oh, okay.
You know what that is? It's like a black border that goes around, and there's a little space between that and the canvas. But most of them just had the black siding, those canvas things we get. Or what are those called? Are those called box canvases?
Yeah, I think so. Like the I'm blanking on.
These were all box canvases, and some of them they put the frame around for whatever reason. But it was just really fun to see people, and also a little scary, people kind of looking at them close, and somebody liking like a Robert Plant, somebody else liking the Christopher Walken or the Jennifer Aniston.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody has different, feelings for different paintings. But it is scary. It's like, you look at the book, and a lot of these paintings are familiar to you because, I would show them to you, or you see them on Instagram. And, but it's really intimidating for me, for someone like you or Paul Moyse or anybody who follows me on Instagram that is a great caricature artist, to be looking at my work, because I know that I have a long way to go, and I know it's pretty good for what I've done so far. But I'm by no means like, in that higher like category of artist. I'm a celebrity who does these paintings, and that helps me a lot too because I'm a celebrity. If you were a movie star and you put those
Yeah.
up, I mean, you would just sell out like in minutes.
Well,
My work is nowhere near yours, but because I'm a celebrity, people, I guess, want to. It's like getting an autograph or a selfie.
I mean, no, I know exactly what you're saying, but I still feel like like if if you sent me something and it sucked, I would tell you. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, this is really good, Kevin. Good
No,
job, buddy."
I don't think you would. I think
No, I would, because here's
you
why.
would.
Oh yeah, I would.
You would
Um,
say,
I would say I
the
think
neck
this
has a
one.
problem.
I would say like, well, no, if the likeness was off, I would tell you the likeness is off. But like, it reminds me a little bit of Ron Wood. Ron Wood, obviously, guitar player for the Rolling Stones. Really good friends with Sebastian Kruger, who is a really amazing caricature artist from Germany. And they've developed quite a friendship. Sebastian does all these, I mean, way too many paintings of the Rolling Stones.
Favorites.
Yeah, he does like books just on the Rolling Stones. I mean, it's insane.
I have it.
How many? Yeah, he's done so many. And so him and Ron would have this relationship and everything. And,
By the way, they were both in the Rolling Stones, right?
huh? Oh yeah.
They're both in the Rolling Stones, if I'm not mistaken.
Kruger?
Kruger, yeah, and Wood.
Yeah,
That's a
Kruger.
good name for a band, by the way.
Kruger and Wood.
Yeah.
I could just imagine Sebastian Kruger as the keyboard player, just that long neck of his.
Yeah.
But Ron started doing, paintings and everything, and he became super successful with them because he's Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones. But I don't think his paintings are very good. Like they're just. I think it's because he's Ron Wood from the Rolling Stones. I don't think that's the case with you. I think you have proven to hold your own in this, and you have like your style. I've even noticed your style just in the last year or so, just improving and changing. And like, that's one thing that takes a long time as an artist, I think, is to really have a style. I think there's always something there where you can look back and go, oh, but you definitely have developed that. And one thing I wanted to say to you too is like, you talked about how you've been doing caricatures even longer than me. Like you started back in the 1800s, but they one of the things I like about a lot of your earlier stuff, or even some of the stuff that you do on the airplanes, which to me those are some of my favorites. I love like looking at just raw sketches, but your style in a way reminds me of like some of my favorite caricature artists from. Like some of my earliest influences, like David Levine or Levine, I don't know which is actually the proper way. Do you know who that is, by the way? David Levine. I think it's David Levine.
Yeah, I do know him. Yeah. He was a big caricature artist, and I've heard several people mention his style.
Yeah, he had like that kind of like cross-hatching line. Like I think he was like in the the Wall Street Journal a lot, New York Times, New Yorker, and stuff like that.
New Yorker.
But when you were getting started, here's the thing that's interesting for you too, is I don't think when you first started doing your characters, even early on in the early SNL days, when you said that you would sit there and draw at the table reads and stuff, I don't think you were thinking, oh, I'm developing myself to one day come out with a book of characters. You just did it because you loved doing it, and you were doodling.
Yeah.
But did you have major influences at that time that you would see their work and be like, oh man, I gotta study this guy or look at this guy's work? Or
well, this was before Instagram, like you said, it's back in the 1800s. So I didn't have a lot of references to look at. I think I had a book on Kruger, the Rolling Stones book.
Yeah.
And which really floored me when I saw that. I thought, wow, this is crazy good.
Yeah.
But nobody really in particular, like a lot of caricaturists. I grew up reading Mad Magazine, which you've done the cover on many times. And I know I loved Mark Drucker and Thomas Richmond now. And that was a lot of the influence I had. And also then I had two, I think I told you this, I had two character paintings of my mother and father. hanging on the wall in my bedroom from some Parisian artist who was really good. I never, I've seen this stuff at Disneyland, but this was like colored pastels. They were framed, and every night I would look at them because they were right in front of me, and I would just always see what they exaggerated and kind of just subconsciously study them. And I think that's really been my biggest influence. I don't even know who that artist was, but you talk about a style. And me in the last year, I'm still trying to find that style. And I don't think this is it right now. I think this is part of the evolution. Like when you do stand-up comedy, like I don't think you've found your style yet, but you're really good at what you're doing, and you're slowly getting there. I mean, not even slowly, you're getting there quickly. And it was annoying to me. I'll be honest with you. First time seeing it. So I'm still kind of looking at everybody else's style and trying to find my own. Because when you do stand up, it's the same thing. You've got to find a style. You've got to find something that is aesthetically pleasing to you, but also to yourself and other people, and different and unique. Because as a stand up, there's so many stand ups out there. If you could be great stand up, but not standing out from the rest of them. Right. For me, it was Andy Kaufman growing up, earlier, because he was so unique. And if you don't know Andy Kaufman, look him up. He just, you never knew where he was going. And I liked Albert Brooks and Steve Martin, because Steve Martin at the time was this guy who was, they were doing anti-comedy basically. I realized that. And I realize that now with doing these caricatures. And I see all different kinds of caricatures that people do, all different styles. And I'm thinking, wow, that's interesting. Oh, that's good. That one I've seen before. That's, that's okay. So that's what I'm trying to do. So it's like, like when you see a Banksy, it's Banksy, or, Kruger, you want to find a real special style that makes you stand out and that you enjoy doing.
Well, I think it's good with the caricature. There are so many styles that it's insane, and like with the whole caricature convention that happens every year, or just making friends online and following them on Instagram. There's so many different styles that it can be like overwhelming. Like there, even like I'll see certain caricature artists out there and be like, man, I gotta push more, or or like I'll just like I'll think that there's certain artists that I'm like, oh, they have such more of a style. Like I don't know if I have a style. So I feel like the same way sometimes too. But then people write the same thing to me. But I think I
think you could do anybody's style though. I think you could look at a style and recreate that with anything, because you're that fluid. I think it's the same with stand up. You look at someone like a Bill Burr or whoever, you could basically do that. You may not have the material, but you'd have the style. Yeah. Right. So, I'm still trying to find that, whatever I'm still voice. Trying to find my stand-up style.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, isn't that what makes doing art exciting and fun? And I mean, I always kind of feel like, one thing I tell students that I've had is that I don't believe in success without struggle. Like I feel like struggle is a huge part of, becoming an artist, but also I feel like if you become too comfortable, and that you become stagnant. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but I kind of like visualize this thing in my mind sometimes, of like, and I think my dad might have said something like this to me a long time ago, but I see this image in my mind of a creek going through like a forest. And I'm sure you've seen this when you're hiking, but like you'll see a creek that's been dried up because, a bunch of sticks or different things have piled into it or whatever. And then it just blocks it up, and eventually it becomes stagnant. And I feel like, as artists, it can be easy to get comfortable and to just stay in one spot. And then it starts to build up, and that flow goes away. And so I think the reason that, or the way you maintain that is through struggle, right? Like because you can't go to the next step and you can't build upon something, I don't think, unless there's a struggle involved. And to me, when it comes to stand up, it's all a struggle. So it's like really, there's so many aspects.
You do get enjoyment out of it because I see.
Oh yeah, no, I get enjoyment out of it, but I'm like,
Instagram. I mean, it
oh, this
sounds
is.
like you have more fun doing that than your artwork. It seems like to me.
I
It's
think
new
what's a
and it's
release?
exciting.
It's a release.
Yeah. But you know, I
have a lot of
aside
things
from
to say.
deadlines, aside from having deadlines,
Yeah.
you really have to rush through the project. Do you ever put down a painting or frame it or whatever and say, that's the best I could do?
No, I always feel like I could do better.
Right? I mean, if you had a painting, like I was reading this book on Leonardo da Vinci, and he had the Mona Lisa with him for like 8 years, carrying around in a little, horse and cart, going to Milan and Rome and stuff. And he would just keep working on it for like 8 years.
That's crazy.
I kind of related to that because I look
Yeah.
at the stuff I've done, and I'm sure you do. You look at stuff and you go, "Oh, I should have done that. I could have made that line better, softer."
Yeah. Well, look at George Lucas. He couldn't leave his original Star Wars movies alone. He kept 20 years later, he comes back and he adds a weird creature here, and he does this. He chooses when Han shot, all this kind of stuff. People criticize him, but I look at it like, oh man, he's like an artist. And like 20 years later, now he has the technology to be able to do things in the 70s he wasn't able to do. It's kind of interesting that way. But
I mean, isn't there a saying that says a painting is never finished or something like that?
Yeah, but I think some paintings, like for example, like even today, I finished my assignment, I handed it in. They called me, or they contacted me on Monday morning with the assignment, and I had Monday and Tuesday to do it. It was due today by noon. So today, I had to get up like 5 a.m. because I knew I'm going to need at least 6 or 7 more hours at least to be able to finish it to a point where it's going to be presentable. And so I did that, and I sent it, and they were all happy, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Okay, good." And then I went, I took a nap. But then I woke up. The first thing I did was I looked at my painting, and I'm like, "Oh," like there's so many things in it that annoy me. But to what you just said, like, isn't a painting's never done? Those kind of paintings, because it's like for a cover, for an illustration, it's being published and it's out there, and it's like, well, I have no reason to go back and do anything with that anymore. It's gone.
Like I'll look at the Mona Lisa and I'll see things that could have been improved,
So like the face.
Yeah. No, but I think once, maybe, I don't even think once something is published, it's done.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. I'm just kind of like I don't. That's one thing that I feel a little frustrated about, is I don't feel like I think there's a lot of paintings I really want to do for myself, but I just don't really have the time.
You
and
don't
some
have time?
no. And some people
are doing stand-up.
Exactly. I was going to say, yeah, exactly. But people like I've had a lot of people actually, Kevin, write me very upset about the fact that I'm doing stand-up. Like, why are you doing this? You should focus more on your art and everything else. And I'm like, you know what? I have been doing this professionally for 20 years. I'm actually having some fun right now. And I feel more challenged and inspired doing comedy. And I don't know how to explain it. You know how this, but there's nothing like it. When I get on stage, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing it, and I love doing it. And I'm working hard at it. And it's a great joy for me, but it's hard, it's painful, it's stressful, but it's fun. But people do say that to me, like you should put more time into your art. Like you don't, I say I don't have time for my art, but it's like I have kids and everything else. I would rather right now go up and do a few bits and do a show on the weekend than sit and paint at night, because I'm doing it all day already.
I know, but you know what? Doing that stand-up and doing the things you really love doing will give you more openness to do your paintings and kind of appreciate it more, because you're out doing things that you're really exciting to you. So when you come back to this drawing and the painting, it's you appreciate it more, and you feel like, oh, okay, I'm doing some other stuff too.
Yeah.
It's funny. I like to golf once in a while, and I say to myself, oh, I got to get out there and golf more, because I rarely golf and I'm not good at all. But so I keep thinking, oh, I got to get out there and golf. And then I'm on the golf course, and after like 9 holes, I'm thinking, I got to get home, and I got to do something at home. I'm not even happy on the golf course, right? I just want to.
That's funny.
So I think if you keep moving yourself around and trying different things, I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
like, as you know, I'm doing everything I can because I hear the clock ticking. So I'm taking piano lessons, Spanish. I take Spanish twice a week. Been doing that for the last year and a half. I'm drawing. I play the banjo and guitar. I'm hiking and I'm editing. So I'm really spreading myself thin. And I may have told you this before. I do a lot of stuff, but nothing really great. I really, I put 10,000 hours into my stand-up. I've only put maybe 200 hours into my painting. So, they
No.
say 10,000 hours, you did
Wow.
it, you got it.
If you did this entire book in only 200 hours, that's I don't believe that.
I'm talking about my last painting.
Oh, your last painting. What?
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny. All right. But like I do feel like what you were saying, like I've been doing stand-up for three years now, but there was the COVID thing, so there's some time taken out of that. But I have noticed though that with my caricature stuff, especially my caricature work, there's way more humor. I've been exploring and pushing myself in that way. And I really do think it's because I've been pushing myself mentally in that other way so much, where I'm thinking about, because I think about comedy like nonstop. Like it's like I woke up in the middle of the night last night, around 1 a.m. or so, and I just wrote for about 15 minutes because something came into my head, and I was like, I have this idea, I got to write down, something of the pressure of those things that turn a penny into a silly little dinosaur. And that's the pressure I feel. And I thought, oh, that's a brilliant idea. And so I started like writing this thing, and it turned out to be 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, I got to go to bed because I have to get up and do this deadline. But like, it's just the kind of the way that it's been, my mind's been working lately,
Wait a minute. Jason, did this just happen? Somebody waved to me past my computer.
I thought somebody was behind me.
And I waved, and you thought somebody was behind you that I was waving to.
I thought you saw my wife. I thought my wife came in.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what else I just noticed? I have paintings that I've done behind me on the wall.
Yeah.
Because I have nowhere else to put them. And there's a mirror across the room, and I'm looking at the paintings in the mirror, and they are I can see so many mistakes, like shapes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's like, oh my God, did I think I was finished with that one? How did I ever see that or miss that?
No, that's it happens, man. I mean, there's no way you can get away from that, really, because like that's why like people always ask me about my tattoos. If I design my own tattoos, no, I never have, and the reason is I don't want my own art on me, because I don't like my art 5 minutes after I do it. But I like tattoo artists. I like their work, and it's funny because I've collected tattoos from artists that I really like, from all over the place. And then years later, I'll talk with them again, and they'll be like, "Oh, I really hate that piece," but I still like it. Like it's on me, and I like it. But they're like, "Oh, that's terrible." So that's why. But just so you know, I only have 2 minutes left on this before it's going to just shut down. So I do want to, before we get going here, I just want to thank you again for coming on, and I want to let everyone know you have to check out this book, I Exaggerate, My Brushes with Fame. This is a really great book, and not only the artwork, but Kevin writes some hilarious stories for each of the paintings, and I highly recommend it. Also, for anyone in the Chicago area, Kevin's going to be here soon doing stand-up at the City Winery on the 28th and 29th?
I'll be there. I think it's the 28th and it's the 27th and 28th. Yeah.
Okay. 27th and 28th.
Saturday.
But he's going to be all over the place. I don't know how he does this with his schedule. And also hiking with Kevin. I was just texting you over the holidays. I think because you and I have become friends, my mom and dad started watching Hiking with Kevin, but they never told me. And so when we got there up in North Wisconsin for Christmas, that's all they wanted to watch was Hiking with Kevin. So I'm watching Hiking with Kevin with him, and they're cracking up, like they love the Conan ones. But I really enjoy. We have 1 minute left. This is countdown. Anything new coming up with Hiking with Kevin, or anything that you want to
No, just my fourth season right now. And by the way, my book is also, believe it or not, on Audible.com, and the paintings are on PDFs.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. But anyways, great talking to you, Jason. We're running out of time. I love you.
Yeah.
I hope to see you in Chicago in a couple weeks.
I'll be there, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
All right. See you, man.
See you.
Bye.